Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show. Grab your coffee or your tea, hunty, because we have a lot to talk about. But before we get started on those red hot topics, please go to my website, www.monalisamonroe.com. We've got t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got toast. Believe me, we've got you covered. And also, you could purchase my book, Life After the Diagnosis. If you know a survivor or you are a survivor, this is the book that you need. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started right, shall we?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show, honey. Grab your coffee and your tea, hunty, because we have a lot to talk about. June. What's up, June? What's good? What's good? I am so glad to announce that this is Father's Day month. Yeah, because if you know me, you know I celebrate. I love to celebrate. So I know Father's Day is just one day. I know Mother's Day is just one day. I know my birthday is just one day. But guess what? I celebrate the whole month. So guess what? Fathers, we're going to celebrate you all month long. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And yes, it's only June the 2nd. And June, what's good? Man, oh man, we have a guest that is coming on the show today. I'm waiting on him to show. Hopefully, all technical difficulties are straight. But we're looking forward to talking with him. And so while we're waiting on my guest today, honey, have you seen or have you heard the latest about Queen Mo and D.L. Hughley? Y'all, look here. I was just scrolling down my social media and found that they were beefing. So, of course, I'm like, what is this about? And D.L. Hughley, this is his side of the story. He said that Queen Mo just went in on him because she wanted to be the headliner. She said that she was, basically upset about going after, before D.L. Hughley on this comedy show, at this comedy show. And so I'm listening to D.L. Hughley explaining, what's going on. And I'm like, well, man, I thought they were cool. I thought they were friends. I'm like, man, black on black crime for real. So he was like saying, how could you go in the way you went in, And so I said, okay, let me find out what all happened on her side. Oh my goodness. Queen Mo, I saw it on social media. She went in on D.L. Hughley. And she started calling the man out his name. She started talking about he was gay. And she started talking about the man's dog. I was like, what in the world is going on? And then she started talking about how she doesn't come behind anybody. So after I heard both sides, D.L. Hughley sounds like he's right. So I don't understand what's the deal with Queen Mo. I mean, you just got back in with what's his name? Lee Daniels and Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey and Oprah. I mean, you just got back in. And then now you're talking about all of this. I I don't understand it. So I don't understand how she could just go off like that. And I was all on her side in the very beginning because I felt like they blackballed her and they treated her bad and all this stuff. But then now I'm hearing that she went in for no reason at all, talking about she don't go behind nobody. I'm like, wow. But I don't know what you guys think. Did you guys even hear about this discrepancy between Queen Mo and DL Hughley? These guys have been in comedy for years. And I'm thinking that the relationship should be a little better than this. But I saw that as I was scrolling on social media, and also I'm listening to the new news about this school shooting, about the police. Now, mind you, it's slowly coming out. Everything about this school shooting is slowly coming out. The police were on site, but they wouldn't go in. Now, I don't know much about much, but I know a lot about a lot. And when you talk about the police, it seems like they would be all gung ho and ready to go in if there's a live shooter. So the news is saying basically that the police were on site, but they were just waiting for something. I don't know. But they didn't know if it was a hostage situation or whatever the case may be. But I was like, wow, 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 wow. And then the chief of police was he's running for some district council, and I'm just like, what is really going on? I mean, did this boy really shoot up the place, or was there something else going on? I mean, the truth is going to come out. It's going to come out what really happened at this elementary school. I mean, it's just so sad. And then as I was, scrolling and things like that, I forgot the man's name. I should have wrote his name down. But he is actually designing the caskets for the children. And he's got a Superman casket. He got a Star Wars casket. I mean, it's just the sweetest. I mean, just the sweetest. And and that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to fathers about. Man, this dad that as I was reading along, this dad, his daughter survived, but his son died. I mean, can you wrap your brain around that? Both of them was in the school now. Both of them were in the school, but his son got shot and his daughter lived. Man, oh man. And then you hear about this husband. His wife was the teacher, and she got shot. And 2 days later, they said he died of a heart attack. Well, close friends said that he died of heartbreak because his wife, they were so close. I'm just like, oh my gosh, as you just continue to read these stories about this school shooting, it's just, it just doesn't get better, and why would it get better? It's a school shooting. So here we are, the White House, the representatives that call themselves representing you. Here we go, not wanting to pass any laws dealing with these guns. Are you serious? And so now we're wondering what is going on with the Republican Party. Now, let me say this, because I'm not trying to come on and start beating up Republicans and stroking Democrats. I'm just trying to understand why it's so important for you to keep an AKA at your house. Now, a gun, okay, you want the gun for protection. You want to protect your family. I understand that. But an AKA, automatic, what in the world? And the fact that these gun laws, I mean, just recently, I mean, I kid you not, just recently in Georgia, it was passed that you don't have to have a permit. And so you wonder why, or you wonder how these 18-year-olds are getting these AKAs. They don't have a background. So they're going to pass the background test. What in the world? And then you say, okay, so there's no testing, there's no background checks, there's no. Yes, it is, because they announce what they're going to do on their social media pages. Now, you have the telephone, the telephone, you have the cell phone, okay? Your cell phone tracks everywhere you go. You have social media that tracks everywhere you go. You post it, you say exactly what you want to do, and they can't go get you. They can't find you. You can't get in trouble. But you know what? I forgot where this place was, but this kid called this kid called himself, saying that he's going to shoot up a school. They go to this little boy's house. The police handcuffed him and took him to juvenile delinquency jail. Yes. And guess how old he was? 10. He was 10 years old and said to his friends on his social media page that he was going to shoot up the school. Now, mind you, he used the code word. He said, it's going to rain. That was the code word for letting everybody know that he was going to shoot up his school. He said, water day. Tomorrow's water day. 10 years old. And honey, the police kindly went right to that little boy's house, picked him up, and took him to jail. Exactly. So at this point, I'm just trying to understand what is going on with our youth to the point to where they feel like they can shoot up a whole school. A whole school. And why? I mean, back in the day, detention was rough. You had loners. You had kids that just, didn't talk to anybody or didn't fool with anybody. You had those type of kids. But to shoot up a school because you're a loner. But you know what? They said that these bullies, and we all had bullies growing up. Y'all got to excuse me. Pollen is high and my allergies is kicking my behind. But we all had bullies growing up. Maybe some of y'all were even bullies. What would we do with bullies? What would we do? Somebody would join up and beat that bully down. Somebody would get tired of getting bullied by that bully and beat his tail or her tail down. That is not the case anymore. These bullies are having kids commit suicide, start killing other students. I'm thinking, what in the world? What happened to a good old, I know y'all don't go after me when I say this, but let's put this thing in context. What happened to a good old fist fight? Y'all remember, I'm gonna meet you at the bus stop. You meet me around the corner. I mean, you remember that? Kids used to just duke it out. No knives, no guns, anything like that. They just old school fight. They don't do that anymore. But then now, I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they still do fight. I don't know. But I'm not advocating I'm not advocating violence. I'm not, I promise. I'm just saying instead of using a gun, instead of using a knife, use your fist. Anyway, yikes. So the school shooting, new information is coming out about this school shooting. The police were on site. They didn't have to be called at the last minute. They were on site. They just wouldn't go in. And then they were talking about this teacher left the door open, and then later on they found out that no, she did not leave the door open. The door wasn't locked when it's supposed to lock. So when you close the door, it's supposed to automatically lock. It didn't. See, and that's another thing. Where's the money going towards these schools for repairs? So anyway, here we are. The door didn't lock, so the boy went in. So it's just a lot. And as you listen and as it goes on, the truth is going to come out, like always. Like the Bible says, whatever's done in the dark is going to come to light. So it's going to come. We're going to find out some new information about the police. Now, I also saw on the social media feeds and things like that there has been complaints about these police officers anyway. They weren't the police officers that's down for the public. I mean, the public anyway. So as we hear, as we go. So the school shooting, new information, and then the Queen Mo and DL Hughley thing. I mean, that was weird. Thinking that they're tight, they're close, they chilling. What's really going on? So, all right, honey. So, just those two things, just wanted to throw out there and see what you guys thought. Because, I love them both, DL Hughley and Queen Mo. I mean, they were old school comedians. Anyway, so those are the two red hot topics that's on the table before I get my guest on. But I just wanted you guys to, tell me a little bit about what you think about those two topics. Queen Mo, DL Hughley, with their beef going on. And then what do you think about the new information about the school shooting? Were you just as surprised as me when you found that out? Crazy, huh? Weird. But let me double check and make sure my guest is still coming on. I don't want to have you guys thinking that we're good to go, because we got a good guest. We got a good guest. So I'm still waiting to see if we're still having technical difficulties. But as we're waiting, what do you guys think about Queen Mo and DL Hughley's beef? And what do you think about the new information about the school shooting? About the police being on site already, just not going in. Well, can you blame the police? They was probably terrified. They're scared of everything. Well, no, not all police. I take that back. Not all police, but these particular police officers. You are sworn in to protect and serve. You're sworn in. You got a gun. You might not have an AKA, but you have a gun. And we're talking about an elementary school. Go in shooting like the Wild Wild West. Let's go. Go in shooting. Wild Wild West. Don't the Wild Wild West. I mean, because if it's my elementary school, my children go, and you call yourself being a shooter, and I got a gun, baby. Trust me, I would go in there like the Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. Yes, I would. There's no way. It was parents. Look, real talk. If y'all see some of the videos, it was parents, no guns, ready to go in there. That's a parent. I mean, they had no guns, but they knew their children was in the school, and they heard the gunshots. These parents was trying to get in the school. Man, oh man. Think about that. Incredible. It's like when it's your child, you have no fear. Man, I remember one time I read that a mother was in a car accident, I think it was, and the child was trapped in the car, and this woman lifted the car off of her baby. I'm telling you, you get strength from the Lord when it comes to your child. You don't care nothing about nothing. It's your child. Man. It was said that she lifted the car. Oh, it was another story that a mother swam to save her child from drowning. I mean, you can go on and on about, and fathers too now. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. I think it was 2020. I don't know if it was 2020 or 2021. This man climbed a building to rescue his mother from, I think it was an apartment building that was on fire. He climbed the building like Spider-Man, honey. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Fathers, man, oh man. Man, oh man. I'm celebrating you guys all month. And I'm hoping that my guest pops on. He said he was going to come on. He's having some difficulties. I'm hoping that he can make it, because he is an awesome father, and I've been knowing him for a while, for some years. Man, how long I've been knowing you? Probably about 7 years, maybe so. But yeah, so I just want him to come on, so you guys can meet him. But like I said, until then, we know how to improvise. But I do want to continue to urge all the families to support, praise, honor, reverence the fathers at home. Because fathers, and it's hard. My biological father and mother separated when I was young, but I had a stepdad that was awesome. And so not everyone has that, and this could be sort of like a sticky subject for a lot of people because they weren't raised by their father. And I wanted to sort of touch a little bit on that, because I wasn't with my biological father. And as a woman that wasn't raised by your biological father, but a stepfather, there is things that you don't know that happens to you. psychologically until you start to grow into adulthood, and when you start dating and even marriage. Um, there are pros and cons, but I can tell you this: a father is definitely needed in a daughter's life, in a son's life as well. But I'm a woman, so I'm referring to daughters. You grow up and you always want to hear your father say you're beautiful, you're smart, just different things like that. And you always want to have that male presence in your life that is your loving father. A stepfather can love you. Don't get me wrong. He can love you, but your biological father is just a different type of love. So, oh, good. I think my guest is here. Let me see here. Let me make sure we are all straight. Kevin, are we ready? Oh my gosh. Let's
Okay.
he's
Okay,
here.
you see me now. Okay. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I was, doing small talk until you came on.
I appreciate you. Today was it was kind of a crazy technology nightmare. My computer was really acting out. It's been
Yeah.
raining, so it's in kind of a slow weather mode or something. But we got it fixed. So thank you
Oh,
for being patient.
good.
Yeah.
Look
How
at
you
look at
doing?
this T-shirt. Oh my God, this black shirt supported a black woman.
Yeah. My wife got this for me. I think it was last year, one of my Father's Day gifts or something. I don't know, but it was there's a black designer or something, and she has a line, remodel black. I think it's on Instagram too, and so this is one of the shirts that she had for sale. So, I'm all about
That's
that life, though. All about that
that's
life.
cool.
So
That
had
is
to wear it on your
awesome.
show because I'm here to support you too in your efforts and everything you got going on. So I felt it was
Which you
appropriate for
always
a
do.
moment such as this. Yes.
I definitely appreciate you because whatever I do, you support me. And I in everything you do, I try my best to support you as
You
well.
have been
And you've
great. Thank you.
always been that friend. So thank you so very much.
It's a
I
pleasure.
wanted to I wanted to bring you on and I want everyone to know who you are and what you do. And then we'll get to the or the father questions. There's
Okay.
a difference, I think. So
Okay.
so
Well,
can you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
yeah. So I'm Kevin L. Jefferson, father of the Forex fam and followmytrades.com, the cash flow king. I have a company called followmytrades.com where I work with business owners and entrepreneurs and I help them scale their cash flow up to 80% or more year over year without adding employees, overhead, or needing to do the work themselves. And so the premise behind that is to allow business owners a means to work less in their business without giving up their financial lifestyle. And so I use my skills of over 20 years in finance, 14 years as a professional currency trader to build cash flow for business owners to help them have an additional income stream that is passive, because as we all know, we all have whatever 24 hours is worth, that's all we got. And it's hard
Right.
to go and learn a new skill. It's hard to go and research a lot of things. And so I just give, business owners and entrepreneurs a reliable place where they can augment or even, surpass the cash flow from their businesses without going through all the stuff that's happening right now. So it's been appropriate because with, the issues with employment, finding
Woo!
people for jobs, the what's they call inflation, supply chain
Yes.
issues, all of that stuff is kind of played into my hands in respect of, showing people how to still continue to create money and cash flow, positive cash flow, even when the markets and everything is really crazy. So I couldn't have planned it any better. I rolled it out. Actually, this particular program, what I call the DFY, Done For You trading program on fmtrades.com. I rolled it out in August, and in August to date, since we've run it, we're up a little over 13.19% or something like that, including the current market. So it's been good, so it's been successful and grateful for that. And the timing couldn't have been better. So thank you for,
Man, I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited for you.
thank you.
So tell me, how in the world are you doing all of this and being a dad all at the same time?
Well, actually, that's probably the best part about what I do, because, as a currency trader, the way that I take positions is a way that it basically allows me to live my life. So I'm what they call by profession, I'm a swing trader. So that means that when I take a position on a currency, I'm expecting it to maybe marinate for 8 days on average. So when you take a trade like that, you can live your life. Matter of fact, yesterday, my youngest son was with me. Asher was with me, hanging out. We had some meetings and stuff, and so he went to some meetings with me. And then I told him, let's go to the movie. So we were up in Frisco, and we went over to the big surround sound, caught the Top Gun. And of course he never seen Top Gun because he's only 8. So we went and saw Top Gun, and we just had a blast. So I mean, and so all I was able to do business, still have positions in the market, and then hang out with my son. So I think it's really about finding that harmony between what you love to do and who you love to do it for, and then putting yourself in the middle of it. So I've been blessed and fortunate to have found a way to do that. And my profession actually augments and actually supports that part of my life, which is probably why I enjoy trading so much.
Like they say, the great resignation. Everybody in 2020 and 2021 was basically on lockdown, and they had a chance to really hone in. Do I really want to go back to work? And that's the reason why no one is. I mean, it's like, I don't care where you go. It's a struggle with labor.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think people have been teetering anyway. And then, and people have been kind of on the fence, and, and people have been wondering if they had, everybody comes up with a million different things or excuses why, because you're afraid to take that leap. So you say, well, as soon as I get this in order, or as soon as I get this, as soon as I'm happy, but I think the contagion of events just hit a tipping point to where, and I think also the type of events that happen, so not only were we locked down, but we're all watching as a world, seeing a man be murdered, and that affects you, because I think you at some point have to, like, you reassess your life and like, man, what am I doing? What I mean? I'm getting up to do something I don't even necessarily love. I always called it, when I would talk to my students, I would call it the corporate coma, where you go to a job you don't like, around people you don't like, for a check you don't like. You know what I'm saying? And why are you doing that? So
why are you doing it?
Yeah, a lot of people said, hey, I'm about to wake up out of this coma and I'm going to strike out, because there's no time like the present. And I am really, I'm admiring people just really going for it. I formal education. I have one of my close friends from West Point, been a friend of mine for nearly 30 years, Nate Scott. He wrote a book called Life is Rich, How to Create Lasting Wealth. And it's a biblically based, biblically based, in the financial principles are biblically centered or whatnot, but he really gives like real life experiences from his own life. He became a millionaire, I think, by the age of 32. He was a hardcore dude, he was like super duper. He's a guy that you knew he was going to be successful. But the point I'm making was, I was talking to him the other day, and I was asking him, because his eldest child, his daughter, who was his first child, I think, that's going to college, because he has a son that's younger than her. So I was like, what do you tell Nadia about college? Because I know he's a person that he doesn't believe in necessarily everybody having the same path, and so he was sharing, it depends on what you want, is what I would tell you, and so I'm thinking these days, the educational system is leery, and I think they're trying to catch up by doing these certificate programs and stuff. But people are like, hey, I don't want to go into $60,000 worth of debt just for a chance to have a job. You know what I mean? And,
when you put it like that.
Yeah, so I'm like, I think people are just going for it. It's like, man, I can almost like the relationship thing. Hey, you can do bad all by yourself. So it's like I can be broke working on my dreams. I ain't got to be broke working on somebody else's dreams. So I can, at least I'll get up earlier for my dreams. So
it's just something about what you said with your son. Not only are you making your own money and doing your own thing, you can do it with your children, and being the head of your household, having your son see dad, spending time with him and making money. That's like the ultimate dream.
Yeah, it's like the trifecta. It's like the trifecta. I'm grateful. I am completely, I'm just really, I am just so grateful, for my life when I think about it. I mean, it's probably what ideally what I would want, you know what I mean? And my son, Asher, I started already teaching him some concepts of trading. And he was asking me the other day, he's like, you're going to keep teaching us how to trade? I'm like, absolutely, because, I think what we've all wanted, I think I can speak from my experience, and my dad was great. And he was very much entrepreneurial and very much a leader. And so I kind of got to watch him close and from afar. And so, I mean, he planted seeds, but there were things that just from a personal financial, I was talking to somebody actually at an event last night about this. The personal finance side, a lot of times doesn't get translated because of just where we come from as a collective, and so I'm grateful to really build on the lessons that my dad shared with me, and also take the memories of my dad being there for me. He worked full-time jobs. He was in the McDonald's business. But he was coach, one of the coaches for my soccer team. And so he laid examples for me, my dad, and so I'm just like, I'm building on that. And with the time freedom that I'm blessed to have to expose my sons, like I'm literally extending my legacy by 100 years, each just by him building my life, because now I get to take and live my life and then impart the lessons that I want them to have along the way, and kind of really give them a real world education and get to spend time with him and like do all the stuff that a dad needs to do, in my opinion, which is kind of let your son see you, go and do what you say you want him to do, and then and have fun along the way. You go visit the movie, get the movie, and like let that be the norm, like not, it's not this weird thing. Like this is what you are. This is what your mantle is. Like this is what you're gonna improve upon this for your children, and so yeah, I'm really
grateful. Not only just work, but work and play.
Yeah, I mean, like when it all like really is it's like the combination of the two. Like and it's seamless, and it makes it easy to get up in the morning, and it makes it easy to to do all the stuff that you do, because that, hey man, you're not really missing a beat. It's not like daddy's got to go work 80 hours and then I see you on weekends. It's like, man,
yes.
So and all love to dads, people, whoever, if you're working 80 hours of anything and still seeing your kids, you know what I'm saying? Like that's phenomenal. But I'm just grateful that I'm in that position. So
that is right. Yeah. We got a question on the table. Is Father's Day even celebrated at your house?
Oh, yes, it is. My wife, Jennifer, she is so amazing. So last year, I can't remember all the stuff they did. I don't remember all the stuff she did for me, but like, massages and, the shirt, and then they got me a robe, and it's like this velvet robe. It's got my initials embroidered on it. It's got King on the back. It's got a hood. It's really dope. And I mean, they just really did it up. So my wife is a celebratory person in certain aspects. So she celebrates me as a dad and as a man. I appreciate her. And so obviously we celebrate her as a mom. So we celebrate Mother's Day. And then only two other things we really celebrate, is birthdays. Like she's big on birthdays. She's not even big on Valentine's Day, which I'm grateful for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So y'all are in the same vein. Like she said, hey, I will celebrate my personal New Year, and I don't need, I don't need a manufactured, romantic day. We're cool, but I'm grateful, because I'm like, all you do is go out and eat overpriced food that's on a la carte menu. It's jacked up in price, might be good, you enter with a bunch of people, and then you go into everything's overpriced. You know what I'm saying? Roses they were $12 and now they $54. I'm like, that don't make sense. You. Yeah, now especially when you and I see you, and I want to give you and your man your flowers, because y'all show love every day, and I'm like, so you loving on. I'm like, well, you get loved on like Mona Lisa's getting loved on. I mean, what you need one day for? You got
he's gonna love to hear that one. He's gonna love to hear that one. That's how good. How are you feeling about celebrating Father's Day coming up?
Okay, a long time ago, probably 13 years ago, maybe 12 or 13 years ago, I remember I was working. I was still a financial advisor at the time, so I was really kind of heavily in that space or whatever. But I was working, and I realized, oh man, Christmas is coming up like in a couple of days. Like I was just working, I'm in business for myself, but I'm working, and so I was just kind of agnostic to the fact that we're a few days away from Christmas. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? But like I wasn't really paying attention. So it's been a long time for me that where I can say I anticipate a holiday, So I mean, Father's Day for me, and especially one I think that I would say I would consider self-serving. I don't look forward to those moments. I look forward to Juneteenth weekend because I get to hang out with my family, and we're going to go do a parade down in Waco, and so I'm going to do some activities with my extended family, my cousins and stuff, which will be fun. But I don't ever look at it like, hey, I'm ready, so y'all can like love on me or show me my family, the people who love me, they show me love every day, and so I don't say I look forward to it, but I'm just grateful.
Awesome. Are you anything like your father in raising your children?
That is an excellent question. I would say, I would say in some respects, yes. I'll speak as far as myself. I have two older brothers, an older sister and a younger sister. So as far as my dad with me, I was because my younger sister, she's daddy's girl, so they don't even like it. Ain't even a fair fight, But for me, I feel like my dad was he was firm, he was fair. And as far as I was concerned, he gave me a lot of latitude to make my own decisions within the realm, And I think that served me. But I think that's him knowing his children. And so I would say, yes, I'm like him in the sense of I really do. I'm very mindful to handle my sons, Christian and Asher, in the ways that I feel are appropriate for their personality. You know what I mean? And sometimes it may look some kind of way, but I'm like, I just don't feel like
it doesn't look fair a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes, but I know that everybody's getting what I feel is necessary for the moment. Now, I'm not one, I surely have not taken on his trait of putting the smack down. Like my dad, hey.
You don't whip him?
Nah, I didn't say I don't. I didn't say I didn't do that. I don't say they ain't been whooped before. I'm just saying, like, relative to this point, I don't know, at this point in my life, I'll give it maybe one more year. This point in my life, I know they probably got 8 and 9, so like a sliver of the whippings I got. Like they it's definitely more for me. And their mom would, she's gotten on to me about that because she's like, nah. But I use a psychological warfare, so like I've spanked them, But I think the threat of it at this point is still powerful enough, and I take stuff away. Like I also take stuff away. So I mean, they like their the PS5s and all the stuff and the TV and all this, so the tablets. So I take stuff that they really care about away, and even eating out, because they love to go eat out. They foodies. So and that's not cheap.
I think nowadays the whippings aren't really that as necessary, and I say that because kids now, like you said, psychological. They're smarter now. Not to say that we were dumb, but if you mess with their electronics, or if you say you're not going anywhere or whatever, it's like a beating to them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, they did. They lose. They are out of. Yeah, they just don't know what to do. Like
they don't know what to do because we growing up, we didn't have those type of things. So you would have to lay the belt on us, because other than that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and it's just the I think it's just really the movement of the times, right? I mean, you got different ages of parents. I mean, a lot of my friends, kids are already like they're going to college. You know what I mean? And so I'm kind of even removed from that. And I think the age at which I had children or whatever, I was blessed to have children. It kind of worked for me because I was older and I'm more laid back. I feel like they're getting the experience of that youngest child that when the mom and daddy got like three kids like 18, 19, 24, and then they got a 5-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the 5-year-old you know what I'm saying? And the other kids, man, you ain't handling the baby like you used to handle us, but
I'm telling you,
a little bit more mellow, so.
I'm telling you, my sons get on me all the time. Mama, you was so hard on us, and you so easy on that. I said, because I'm tired now. I don't have
time for that. Just do right. Just do the right thing. Please, just do right.
But then again, I talked to that youngest one, and he's going to be 18 this year. He said he learned from seeing them get in trouble, so he's not going to go there. So it's just a different mindset. It really is.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
What advice would you give young fathers in these times raising children? Wow.
That is so powerful, man. I would say definitely create a game plan for your children. You know what I'm saying? Like create a game plan for their lives and how you want their lives to play out. and really like look at the end game. I mean, kind of like what Covey says, begin with the end in mind. Really write down like how you want to see them in their adult life, and then reverse engineer that plan into their lives and see what it takes. And I think that that's important because as a young father, you may still be trying to find your own direction. And so if you do that for your children, it'll help you set your course as well as a dad, because you're going to probably place things that facilitate that, you know what I mean? And so if you really are a father who cares to do the job well, I think you say, okay, what do I want for my children? Because now I'm having to prepare to take a side seat to their desires, you know what I mean? And so what do I desire for their lives while I'm charged with that, with that mission? And then whatever you're trying to facilitate for their lives, you have to be one of the facilitators. And so I think it helps you shape your journey as well. And so maybe some things that you wanted to work on or whatever, and you've hesitated, so I think it can be good. Just really set out a game plan for your kids, and it gives you something to work towards as well. It's not, it has to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. But having something laid out gives you a better chance of success than not having something laid out. And it also helps you think about, really think about fatherhood. You know what I mean? Because I think, I always tell people, I feel like my 3 P's for my kids are, protect them, prepare them, and provide for them, and so
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm creating that safe space for them, but I want to give them access to experiences and knowledge and wisdom and opportunities, and provide for them as well, so that means if I'm doing that, I've got to get out here and go to business meetings, even if he's with me, and I'm doing it with a mindset of that. Yeah, I can create for myself, but creating for them and having like their lives in my mind, like everything I do, I'm intentionally like thinking about, how is this going to impact my children, or how can I take this and turn it into a lesson for my sons, right now, so I think once you lay that out, a vision for your children, it helps you with your vision, and it may help you some guidelines in how to handle your kids as a young father.
Have you had that opportunity to speak to a young father and to, mentor or anything like that?
That's a great question. I speak to a lot of fathers, and I don't know if they're young. I mean, they're younger than me, but not really young. I feel somewhere in my spirit that I have, but it may have just been a word of encouragement, and I can say that I'm really actually impressed. Like a lot of the men that I've met, young dads or even passing or whatnot. So the short answer is I haven't taken on a mentee in that particular sense. And so I'll explore that. If I will put myself in position to attract that, so that I can be that for somebody. But
you know what? You're doing it anyway, though.
Yeah. Okay.
With your classes. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of ways that I was actually reflecting on this, on Sunday. I had reached out to a few different men in my life, like people some from the past that I hadn't talked to in years. And we rekindled, reconnected and kind of going. But bottom line is, each of them, at least like a handful of them, I thought of them, and then I thought to reach out to them as soon as I thought of them, like sometime in the last month. And every one of them to a person said, man, this call, this reach out, this check-in was timely. You know what I mean? And it was like encouraging, and it was, they were having a legitimate moment, or like really going through, some thought processes. And so it was really cool to be that. And I just, I reflect back on when I started Forex for Dads, and that was really kind of my, it's more informal now because I've kind of extended it to, everybody can be a part of it. So it's not the same type of community, but I've got relationships, and this isn't just Forex people. These are just, life relationships. But I found that that's been a blessing, a gift of mine that, the God has allowed me to really speak to the hearts of men in a certain way. And definitely from the standpoint of, I think their vulnerability, because I think so few of us have an opportunity to be vulnerable, and particularly with one another, and so I think I'm honored that, I have men in my life that are accomplished men in their own rights. I mean, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, call them whatever you want to. They are men's men, but they still lean on my shoulder, and talk to me in confidence about things that I know that they may not have shared with a lot of people, and so I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for that. So anyway, but I would set a vision, and then I would also I would find a way to get some income, like some way to get some passive income. You know, they've got the shipping, the drop shipping. I was talking to somebody yesterday who they reached out to me about doing not the Amazon stores, but like an automation, and to where you can,
Oh,
you can invest in a store, and and then build that out. It may take you a year or two to to recoup, like a year, probably less than a year to recoup your investment, but to build it to where you want it. But at some point it becomes something where you're making upwards of 5 figures a month passively, and it's a way to give yourself some time back. So like when I think about that, like just as a dad, I'm thinking, okay, everything that I'm doing, not that there aren't moments where I have to go out and spend time. Like last night I had to go out to a networking event, but like I'm trying to do things right now. And even when I wake up, I'm up at before 4:15 every morning. And that's when I have my personal time for 2 hours before the family wakes up. That's when I take my time for myself so I can be more present, during the day and be more intentional and try to be efficient. But I'm still always working towards like everything I'm doing to ultimately, within the next 10 years, actually before that, but like I would say the next 5 to 6 years, where I can literally have most things except for the trading, which I do touch on a weekly basis, really operating at a point to where I can really take this time and, we can travel and do excursions and things. And it's not, I'm not missing a beat, and so that's what I think about when my vision for my kids is I want to give them life experiences. They're in Montessori, they're in formal school, but I feel like life is a school. And so I'm always wanting to have them in a position to where I can go expose them to things in life's school, by traveling and experiencing different people. And the only way you can do that is by freeing up your time, and so I think that
that's key. That's key. I think parenting, how do I put it? I think parenting is best shown with time.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Because time can allow you more money, time can allow you more, free time or whatever. But how many stories have we heard of rich kids being upset with their parents? They have everything, but then they'll say, "But you were never there."
Yeah, yeah. I have a friend. He's passed away now. He was a good friend of mine, and I considered him a mentor, even though he never called himself that. But his family is a prominent family. If I said the name, like you would know it, especially in Dallas. So, but his children, he had a really a fractured relationship with his children from what I observed. And they just were not in a good space, and they were born into money. You know what I mean? To where like when you born into retirement, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But when the relationships, the most important ones, are not intact, with parental relationships, it really doesn't matter. Like I would rather, God forbid, be in struggle mode with my family intact than to be wealthy and my family fractured. You know what I mean? Because like why am I doing it otherwise? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the purpose if my family ain't benefiting from my presence? So anyway.
Yeah. I have always admired how you say different things concerning money. Like you were talking about, instead of saying bills, you say investments, just different little key things. And I remember you told me a long time ago that it's a mindset when it comes to the relationship with money.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing about parenting. You got to have a certain mindset to know that parenting is not just buying your kids some shoes, buying your kid that, it is relationship. It's so very important. And it's biblical as well, because God wants a relationship with us. He doesn't want you working night and day at the church, working and da da da. He wants a relationship. And it's the same with your children.
That's
so right. You're an awesome dude. You're an awesome dad. And tell wifey I said hello. I love you guys. Continue to spoil. And when I say spoil, I don't mean like ruin. I mean
I get it.
With time.
I get it. And I will take you up on that. I will definitely do that. That's my honor. It is what I, one of the reasons I live is to share that time. And my son, I got up and then I went back and laid down because it's raining here. So I was like, man, I need to break. I want to lay down. And so I lay down. And so my son came, Asher, my youngest, came in, and he'll come in and he's like, "Good morning, Daddy." He comes to reach over, he gives me a big hug, like a big old, just a good old deep embrace, you know. Like saying that, you know, like we say, do the same thing when we go to bed. And I'm like, man, my day is made. You know what I mean? Like my day is good. Like, it can't nobody say nothing to me today without me. If I go back and think about that moment, like that's everything. And so being able, just even be able to you know, wake up. I know it's summertime now, but just being able to wake up to him, you know, and him wake up to me, and kind of let that be almost an expectation. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with living up to
outside of that hustle and bustle. Just time.
Exactly. The busyness of life. You know what I mean? So,
man. Woo, well, happy Father's Day. Thank you for being a guest on my first show in June.
Hey.
And of course, I'm celebrating all month my fathers.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you so much, Mona Lisa. I'm grateful, and it's so wonderful to watch you in motion. You know, we've done so many things in the past, and it's just really cool. I'm just really excited, man. I love watching I just love watching your journey. You know, you are an inspiration. You are an absolute inspiration, and you know, I know people who watch you and follow you probably know your story and like your journey, but like I don't think there's been a time, at least when we've been together, to where I've seen, even though like you know, like to where you have not had a smile available. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Not that there was always one there like to start or whatever, but it was like you have always left or had a smile at some point in the context of us being in each other's presence. And even when you share things about, you know, what you dealt with, you know, health-wise or whatever. I remember we were at the La Madeleine in Las Colinas one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and you were sharing some things, and I was like, man, your attitude and your spirit, and man, I'm just really grateful to have you as a friend. So just wanted to give you those flowers because I'm all about giving flowers to the living. So yeah, you're awesome. You're awesome. So thank you again, love. I appreciate you.
Thanks again. I love you. Tell awesome. Wifey I keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you. Will do. All right. Enjoy the day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Man, what an awesome show. I'm so glad he got those technical difficulties straight. I'm so glad he was able to jump on. I hope you guys gleaned from that however you could. I mean, he is a phenomenal businessman. He's an awesome dad. He's an awesome husband. Kevin Jefferson, follow him. Click like and share the show. Replay this thing back and hear again what he's doing for people if they don't have employment, or if they're at home, or if they have an inspired or admiration to work at home. If they want that extra income, check him out, Kevin Jefferson. Thanks again for being on the show today. My very first Father's Day show. Now, I know you guys, it's not Father's Day, Mona Lisa. I'm telling you, I'm going to celebrate fathers all month long. June is your month. Now, next week, look forward to another father or some more fathers. I can't wait. This is going to be an amazing month for the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show, honey. So make sure you grab your coffee, grab your teas, because we have a lot to talk about. Okay? Okay. Once again, thanks again for everyone that has tuned in to the show, My Portraits. Mwah! Have a great Thursday. Holla!